Ever wonder why some men just can't seem to build lasting trust with truly independent women? It's not always about grand betrayals. In this video, we're breaking down 8 subtle male behaviors that quietly chip away at the trust of Sigma females, sometimes before the relationship even begins. And honestly, you might be surprised at what's on this list. Sigma women are not your typical go-with-the-flow type. They're independent, intuitive, and deeply self-aware. But here's the catch. When men misread their energy or try to play the wrong game, it often backfires. Today we're pulling back the curtain on those mistakes, the ones men often regret when it's already too late. See, the issue isn't that men don't care, it's that they don't get it. They approach Sigma women like they would anyone else, not realizing these women live by their own code. And when you cross those boundaries, the damage isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, final, and permanent. Here's what Sigma females never forgive. 1. Empty words, empty words. It sounds simple, almost harmless, but for Sigma women, this is one of the most dangerous mistakes a man can ever make. Words without action are like a check that bounces every single time. You hand it over with confidence, but there's nothing in the account to back it up. You tell her you'll call, and the phone stays silent. You promise you'll show up, and she ends up waiting alone. You paint a picture of big plans and exciting futures, but when it comes down to it, there's no brushstroke, no canvas, no art at all. For Sigma women, this isn't just disappointment, it's betrayal in disguise, and once trust slips through that crack, it's almost impossible to repair. Sigma females live in a world where independence isn't an accessory, it's a necessity. They build their lives on the foundation of reliability, on knowing they can count on themselves first and foremost. So when you step into their orbit and ask for a place, you're not just bringing your smile or your charm, you're bringing responsibility. You're saying, "Let me stand beside you." And if you say those words but fail to live them, she doesn't see it as a minor slip. She sees it as disrespect to her time, her energy, and her intelligence. Think about it. A Sigma woman doesn't need you to carry her through life. She doesn't need daily validation or constant reassurance. What she does need is honesty. If you say you'll be there, then be there. If you can't, just say so. The irony is, Sigma women forgive truth much faster than they forgive fake promises. She'd rather hear, "I can't make it tonight," than sit by the window waiting for a car that never pulls into the driveway. She'd rather know the reality up front than build castles on your empty words only to watch them collapse overnight. And here's the kicker. When a Sigma female spots this behavior once, she pays attention. Twice, and she starts stepping back. 3 times, it's over, even if you don't realize it yet. By the time you're trying to explain, trying to smooth things over with more sweet talk, she's already gone emotionally. To her, action is the true love language. When you say, "I'll help you with that," she listens. But when you actually show up and help her move boxes, fix the tire, or just sit quietly while she works, she remembers. It's the follow-through that matters, not the poetry. And this isn't about perfection. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody cancels sometimes. What breaks trust is the pattern, the casual way some men throw words around like confetti, thinking they look pretty in the air, forgetting they eventually land on the ground. A Sigma female notices. She notices every missed call, every ignored promise, every excuse dressed up as an apology. And the saddest part, by the time you realize your words were empty, she's already decided her life is too full to make room for someone who takes her trust so lightly. 2. Underestimating her independence. Underestimating her independence. This is where so many men crash and burn without even realizing it. A Sigma woman's independence isn't some trend she picked up last week. It's not a personality quirk she flaunts just to be different. It's her entire way of life, built brick by brick from years of relying on herself, trusting her instincts, and refusing to shrink into the background. When a man steps in and assumes she needs saving, he doesn't look like a hero. He looks like someone who doesn't understand who she is at all. Picture this. She's handling her own business, managing her career, paying her bills, solving problems before anyone else even notices them. And then here comes a man saying, "Don't worry, I've got this," when she never asked. Instead of feeling cared for, she feels dismissed. It's like you're saying, "I don't believe you're capable," even if that's not your intention. And Sigma women don't forgive that. They don't forgive being treated as fragile when they've spent their whole lives proving their strength. Look, it's not that she rejects kindness. It's not that she doesn't appreciate support. Of course she does. But there's a massive difference between standing by her side and trying to take over her life. Sigma women notice the difference right away. For example, let's say she tells you she's going to fix her car or negotiate her own salary. If you jump in and say, "Let me handle it," without even giving her the chance, she's not flattered. She's insulted, because in her mind what she hears is, "You're not strong enough to do this yourself." And that message is deadly to trust. The truth is, Sigma females are deeply attracted to men who respect their independence, not those who try to overshadow it. She wants a partner, not a parent. She wants someone who can cheer her on while she conquers her own battles, not someone who steals the sword out of her hand. When you underestimate her independence, you chip away at the very core of what makes her Sigma. And once she senses you're uncomfortable with her freedom, she knows you'll never truly understand her. The irony: many men think this behavior makes them look dependable, like protectors. But for a Sigma woman, it does the opposite. It makes you look insecure, like you can't stand the thought of her not needing you. And when a man's ego collides with her independence, trust is gone. So here's the reality. If you want to stand beside a Sigma female, don't underestimate her ability to stand alone. Respect it, celebrate it. Ask her how she wants your support instead of assuming. When she says she's got it handled, believe her, because she does. Underestimating her independence doesn't make her lean closer. It pushes her further away. And once she feels that push, she won't fight to stay. She'll let go, and she'll never look back. Quick pause. If you're vibing with this so far, hit that like button and drop a comment about the worst empty promise you've ever dealt with. I'd love to hear your story. Now let's keep going. Point 3. Dismissing her silence. Dismissing her silence. This is one of those mistakes men make without thinking twice, but for a Sigma woman, it's a line you can't cross. Silence for her isn't a weakness. It isn't confusing. It isn't a cry for help. It's a tool, a choice, a moment she creates to process the world on her terms. When a man mocks that silence, pressures her to talk before she's ready, or assumes something is wrong just because she isn't filling the air with words, he doesn't just annoy her, he disrespects her entire rhythm. A Sigma female doesn't need constant noise to feel alive. She doesn't need shallow chatter to feel close. Her quiet is often where her strength lives. That's where she recharges, where she filters truth from nonsense, where she listens to her own intuition instead of outside voices. So when a man tries to bulldoze through her quiet moments with jokes, jabs, or nagging questions, it feels like an invasion. It feels like he's saying, "Your way of existing isn't valid," and that is unforgivable. Think of it this way: silence is her version of trust. If she's quiet around you, it's because she feels safe enough to simply be. She doesn't need to entertain you. She doesn't need to perform. She's letting you into her real, unfiltered world. And if you dismiss that gift, you show her you're not ready for the depth she carries. Many men misread this. They mistake silence for distance. They assume she's bored, angry, or plotting an exit. But most of the time, her silence is simply her recalibrating. It's her resting in the comfort of not needing to explain herself. And here's where the mistake happens. Instead of respecting the space, men push. "What's wrong? Why aren't you talking? Are you mad at me?" Over and over, until the silence, which was once calm, becomes heavy. And when she feels her peace turning into pressure, she shuts the door. She won't yell. She won't argue. She'll simply detach, because to her, anyone who can't respect silence is someone who will never understand her soul. Here's the truth. Sigma women aren't afraid of quiet. They thrive in it, and they want partners who can sit beside them in that quiet without fidgeting, without forcing conversation, without making it awkward. If you can enjoy a sunset in silence with her, or read in the same room without speaking, or share a car ride with nothing but music, that's intimacy to her. That's real closeness. But if you dismiss her silence, if you make her feel like she has to explain every pause, she knows you'll never keep up with her. You'll always need noise, and she'll always need peace. And that mismatch? It kills trust faster than betrayal. For Sigma females, silence is sacred. Respect it, and you're in her world. Dismiss it, and you're out before you even realize it. 4. Playing jealousy games. Playing jealousy games. This is one of the fastest ways a man can lose a Sigma woman forever. Some men think making her jealous will spark passion, prove she cares, or keep her on her toes. They flirt with other women in front of her, leave hints about exes, or casually drop another girl's name just to watch her reaction. What they don't realize is that this isn't playful in her world. It's disrespect. A Sigma woman doesn't get jealous the way others do. She doesn't compete for attention, and she doesn't chase validation. When a man tries to provoke her jealousy, she doesn't fight harder for him. She simply steps back and asks herself why she should waste her time with someone who doesn't know her worth. To her, love should feel like loyalty. If you're testing her with games, you've already failed. Look, a Sigma female is wired differently. She doesn't measure her value based on how hard she can fight off other women. She knows exactly who she is and what she brings. So when you throw jealousy into the mix, she doesn't feel insecure. She feels insulted. It tells her you're immature, that you need attention from everywhere because hers isn't enough. And when she senses that, trust evaporates. The irony is that some men honestly believe these little games make them look more desirable, like they're proving they have options. But here's the truth. A Sigma woman already knows you have options. She has options too. What matters to her is whether you can choose her fully, without needing to prove your popularity by juggling attention from others. She wants focus, not drama. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean she's clingy. It doesn't mean she needs you glued to her side. Independence is her core. What she won't tolerate is deliberate disrespect disguised as a test. For example, if you text other women just to see how she reacts, she won't argue, she won't cry, she won't even play along. She'll just lose interest. Because in her mind, if you're trying to make her jealous, it's already proof you're not secure enough for the kind of connection she needs. And here's where it stings. Once she decides your loyalty is questionable, she doesn't give second chances. There's no dramatic confrontation, no screaming match. She'll just detach emotionally, quietly, completely, until you're wondering when you lost her, when the truth is you lost her the moment you tried to play her like a game. Respect matters more than attention. Depth matters more than tricks. For a Sigma female, love isn't about control, it's about freedom. She wants to feel chosen, not tested. She wants to feel respected, not manipulated. So here's the bottom line. If you think jealousy games will keep her close, you're dead wrong. They don't pull her closer, they push her away. And once she walks, she doesn't come back. If you're still watching, make sure you subscribe. That way you won't miss the next video, where we'll go deeper into Sigma female relationships. All right, back to it. 5. Not respecting her space. Not respecting her space. This is a mistake men make over and over again with Sigma women, and it never ends well. A Sigma female treasures her space like air. It's not just physical space, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual. Her solitude is where she recharges, where she gets clarity, where she keeps her identity strong. When a man doesn't respect that, when he constantly hovers, calls non-stop, texts every hour, or insists on being part of every plan, she doesn't feel loved, she feels suffocated. And once she feels suffocated, her walls go up. For Sigma women, personal space isn't negotiable, it's the foundation of their independence. They've built lives where they can stand tall on their own, where they can make decisions without permission, where they can breathe without needing constant validation. So when a man ignores that need and treats her independence like a threat, it tells her everything she needs to know about him. It tells her he doesn't trust her. It tells her he's insecure, and it tells her he'll never understand the way she moves through the world. Look, she doesn't disappear into space because she doesn't care. She takes space because it keeps her balanced. She's not pulling away from you, she's centering herself. But a man who panics when she's quiet or blows up her phone when she takes a few hours alone shows her he's not ready for her type of love. Real love for a Sigma woman means being able to sit in her absence without doubting her loyalty. It means respecting that sometimes she wants a night alone with her books, her thoughts, or her music, instead of a crowded dinner. And here's the truth. When you respect her space, she comes back to you with more energy, more love, more trust. But when you violate it, when you act like her needing space is rejection, you push her away faster than any argument ever could. Think of it this way. Her space is her oxygen. Take it away, and she suffocates. Give it freely, and she breathes deeper. Many men mistake this for disinterest, like she doesn't want them around. That's not it at all. She just needs to know she won't lose herself in the relationship. She needs to know she can still be her, fully, unapologetically, even while standing next to you. If you can handle her space, you prove your strength. If you can't, she sees your weakness. And once she sees weakness in this form, she doesn't argue about it. She doesn't beg you to change. She simply decides you're not her person. Respecting her space is respecting her identity. It's saying, I trust you enough to let you breathe. And that, for a Sigma woman, is the difference between love that lasts and love that never gets off the ground. 6. Speaking over. Her speaking over her. It might sound like a small thing, but to a Sigma woman, it's a deal breaker. When a man interrupts her mid-thought, cuts her off in conversation, or dismisses her point before she even finishes, he's not just being rude. He's telling her that her voice doesn't matter. And for a Sigma female whose independence and identity are built on self-respect, that's something she can never forgive. Sigma women think deeply before they speak. They don't waste words. When they share their thoughts, it's usually something they've already processed and believe in. So when a man jumps in, finishes her sentence incorrectly, or talks over her like he's the only one with something valuable to say, it hits her harder than he realizes. It doesn't feel like impatience. It feels like erasure. And once she feels erased, she doesn't fight for attention. She withdraws it. She'll stop sharing, she'll stop opening up, and eventually she'll stop trusting you altogether. Here's the thing. Sigma women aren't looking for dominance in a partner. They're looking for respect. They want their perspective to stand next to yours, not beneath it. So when you speak over her in public, it's not just embarrassing. It tells her you don't value her insight. When you do it in private, it tells her you'll never truly hear her heart. And without being heard, she won't stay. Many men think they're being clever or passionate by cutting in, like they're just adding energy to the conversation. But to her, it reads as control. It reads as ego. It reads as a man so uncomfortable with her intelligence that he has to drown it out with his own voice. That's not power. That's insecurity disguised as authority. And here's the twist. A Sigma woman doesn't need to raise her voice to reclaim her place. She'll let you talk. She'll let you dominate the conversation. She'll let you feel like you've won. But silently, she'll be checking out. Because if you can't make room for her words, you'll never make room for her soul. And once she sees that, she's already gone. Think about real-life examples. You're at dinner with friends, she starts to tell a story, and you cut in to tell it better. You think it's harmless, maybe even funny, but she feels invisible. Or she shares an opinion on something important to her, and you wave it off with a joke. You might laugh, but inside, she's filing that moment away as proof that you'll never respect her depth. Sigma females know their value. They don't need to shout to prove it, but they also won't waste it on someone who can't listen. Respecting her means giving her words the space they deserve, even if you disagree, especially if you disagree. Because in her world, real love isn't about speaking louder. It's about listening deeper. Before we move to the next one, tell me in the comments if you've ever had to walk away from someone who didn't respect your space. Your stories matter. Now let's finish this strong. 7. Making her feel small. Making her feel small. This is one mistake Sigma women never overlook. When a man throws backhanded compliments, subtle digs, or comparisons meant to cut her down, he's not just joking around, he's chipping away at something sacred. A Sigma female lives with quiet strength. She doesn't demand the spotlight, but she carries herself with a confidence that comes from knowing her own worth. When someone tries to shrink that, even in small ways, it doesn't make her doubt herself. It makes her doubt the relationship. Words have power. A sarcastic remark about her appearance, a casual comparison to another woman, or even a light-hearted comment about her goals being too much can feel like poison to her. Because for Sigma women, respect isn't optional, it's the baseline. She can handle honesty, she can handle criticism if it's constructive, but belittlement, that crosses a line, and once you cross it, there's no way back. The truth is, men sometimes do this without realizing. They think teasing is playful, or that making her feel a little insecure will keep her humble. But for a Sigma female, it doesn't work that way. She doesn't crave reassurance the way others might. She doesn't cling tighter to someone who undermines her. She simply steps back and reminds herself she deserves better. And here's where most men get blindsided. She won't argue about it. She won't sit you down and beg you to stop. She won't even raise her voice. She'll just collect her dignity and detach. Because to her, being with someone who makes her feel small is the same as being alone, but lonelier. Think of the little ways this happens. She talks about her big career dreams, and you roll your eyes. She dresses up and you say, "You look good, but not as good as last time." She tells a story she's proud of, and you one-up it instead of listening. On the surface, these moments might seem minor. To her, they reveal a pattern, a man who can't stand her shine, and Sigma women are allergic to people who try to dim their light. The irony? She doesn't even need constant praise. She doesn't live for validation. What she does need is to know the person she chooses respects her exactly as she is, her strength, her ambition, her quirks, her flaws. When you make her feel small, you show her you don't have the capacity to handle her greatness. And that's when she's gone. Because here's the reality. A Sigma female would rather walk alone than stay with someone who chips away at her self-worth. She'd rather face life solo than waste her energy on someone who uses words as weapons. Making her feel small doesn't keep her close. It pushes her away for good. And once she walks, she won't return to prove her worth to you. She already knows it. 8. Betraying her trust, even in small ways. Betraying her trust, even in small ways. This is the line you cannot cross with a Sigma woman. Unlike others who may overlook the little things, a Sigma female notices everything. To her, trust isn't a casual agreement. It's the foundation of connection, and once it cracks, even slightly, it's never the same again. The mistake men make is assuming betrayal only means something huge, like cheating. But to a Sigma woman, it's much bigger than that. Betrayal shows up in the half-truths, the secret conversations, the hidden messages, the little lies that seem harmless at first. Telling her you were somewhere you weren't, saying you're fine when you're not, just to avoid honesty, breaking a promise you made, even if it seemed small. All of these things to her are red flags. Because if you can't be honest in the little things, how can she believe you in the big ones? What sets Sigma females apart is their intuition. They have sharp instincts, and they can feel dishonesty before the words are even finished. They notice shifts in tone, missing details, stories that don't quite line up. And here's the part men underestimate. She won't always call it out. She might not confront you right away. Instead, she observes. She waits. She watches to see if the pattern continues. And when it does, she doesn't argue. She detaches, quietly, completely, without warning. Because to her, betrayal doesn't deserve confrontation. It deserves distance. The irony is that many men think small betrayals don't count. They think it's not a big deal. She won't notice, but Sigma women always notice. And once she notices, she never unsees it. Her mind records it as truth. This man cannot be trusted. And once that thought lands, there is no erasing it. She doesn't give endless chances. She doesn't negotiate her worth. She simply leaves, even if she still loves you. That's how strong her boundary is. Real trust to her is about consistency. It's about matching your actions to your words every single time. If you're going to be late, tell her. If you don't feel the same about something, be upfront. If you can't keep a promise, don't make it. Honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, is better than betrayal in disguise. Because once she feels deceived, even slightly, she can't go back to seeing you as safe. And safety, for her, is everything. So here's the truth. Betrayal doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes in silence, in the tiniest cracks, in the smallest lies. But for a Sigma woman, those cracks are enough. She doesn't wait for the house to collapse. She walks out before it does. Because her trust is rare, and once broken, it's gone for good. Here's the climax, the point that cuts deeper than all the others. Betrayal of trust in any form, big or small. Out of every mistake, this one stands above the rest because it destroys something that can never be fully rebuilt. For a Sigma woman, trust isn't handed out easily. She watches, she listens, she measures a man's consistency over time, and once she decides to give it, it means she sees you as rare, as worthy, as strong enough to stand beside her. But the moment you betray it, whether through lies, half-truths, secret messages, or broken promises, it's gone. She doesn't explode. She doesn't make a scene. She doesn't beg for explanations. She simply shuts the door, because in her world, trust isn't negotiable, it's sacred. Think about how different this is from others. Many women might give second chances, try to rebuild, hold on for the sake of history. A Sigma female doesn't. To her, dishonesty in any form feels like disrespect to her intelligence, and she will not waste her life proving she deserves honesty from someone who should have given it freely. That's why betrayal stands out as the deadliest mistake. The others are cracks, but this one is demolition. Once it happens, the relationship collapses, and she doesn't look back. So let's pull it all together. We've gone through the 8 things Sigma women never forgive. Empty words, underestimating independence, dismissing her silence, jealousy games, invading her space, speaking over her, making her feel small, and betrayal. Each one chips away at her trust, each one erodes the bond. But betrayal is the breaking point. The rest can wound, but this one ends everything. And here's the lesson. Being with a Sigma female isn't about trying to control her, test her, or mold her into something easier. It's about respect. It's about consistency. It's about understanding that she doesn't need you to complete her. She chooses you because she wants you in her life. That's the highest compliment any man could ever receive. So what does this mean for you? If you're a Sigma woman watching, hear me clearly. Nothing about you is too much. Your independence, your silence, your standards, they are not flaws. They are your power. If a man can't handle them, that's not your burden. That's his limitation. Never lower yourself to make room for someone who makes you feel small. You are rare, you are valuable, and you deserve love that feels like partnership, not punishment. Now, here's my call to you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me the mistake you'll never forgive, the one that made you walk away for good. Your story might be the one another Sigma woman needs to hear tonight. And if this message spoke to you, hit like, subscribe, and check out the next video where we'll dig even deeper into what makes Sigma females so powerful in love and in life. Remember, your silence, your strength, your space, they are treasures. Protect them fiercely.